You mentioned 6 cars, which I think is what Chrysler sold last month, actually. But there's a serious point here, and which is you're in the consumer products industry. And the question came up this morning, how do we keep an economy going in a world that may be heading towards 9 billion people? If we do have rising consumption levels, it's good on the one hand because it means that people are better off living hopefully healthier lives, longer lives, and we all want that for everybody. And at the same time, it's not clear that the planet can actually support those levels of consumption. So Levi's has begun to think about its products and the footprint of its products. I assume that's essential. And what do you see Levi's doing to try to reduce the footprint of what will hopefully continue to be a very, very healthy company?
Yeah, well, Aaron, I absolutely agree. I think there's no doubt, I think we'd all agree if we keep operating the way we are today, the planet won't be able to support the huge growth that's going to take place. So the number of the things we look at, we're looking at organic cotton. Is there a way to use crops in a more effective manner? We're looking at the water usage we have. For instance, we're working with Procter & Gamble on a formulation that products can be washed in cold water. You know, one of the interesting things with jeans, you shouldn't wash your jeans every day. You really shouldn't. You don't need to. They're a bit like all of us. They get better with age. Denim jeans sort of are like that. But how zested, I've worn the jeans, I better go and put them in the washer and put hot water all through them and hot tumble dry them. We're changing our care labels to say cold water's okay. You know, cold dry is okay. You don't have to do those types of things. It's interesting, we're also working with Procter & Gamble on some formulations that will keep the jean looking the same so that you don't have to wash it and wash it to get that used second-hand look. By the way, we can also sell you a pair of jeans that are already used and we'll charge you a healthy premium for that. But the water is an interesting challenge. How can we use less water, not only in growing crops, but how we finish our jeans? We're spending quite a bit of time focusing on that. We're now working with BSR and some other companies, starting to push our suppliers, going up the supply chain. How can we work more effectively to take energy out of, from growing the crop, how you sell products to us, and how we deliver it? One of the other things we're spending a lot of time focusing on, believe it or not, we're a pretty big retailer. Around the world, we have about 2,500 stores. Most people don't realise that. Many stores outside the US. Now we're trying to look at how do we recycle the way we construct our stores, using bamboo on some of the floors. Plastic bags aren't allowed in our stores. How do we use energy-saving lights? So we're starting to use this filter. Is there a more sustainable way in everything we do? And I think that has got to be the focus from all companies. I give credit to Walmart. We do pay attention to them, and they're pretty direct in what they expect from their suppliers. We were talking at lunch about how they reduce the amount of packaging on their garments. We've made a mandate, for instance, on our garments, we'll only have 2 pieces of packaging. In the past, some of our products look like Christmas trees. You know, we'd tell you it's Levi's, we'd tell you it's a slim fit, we'd tell you you've got to wash it inside out, we'd tell you you'll feel better if you wear it, we'll tell you you've got to give it to someone as a Christmas... Hold on. So now we're saying, hey, let's reduce the amount of packaging. You know, the interesting thing, we're having a discussion the other day, if you go into a Levi's store, do you need to have a bit of packaging on telling you it's a Levi's jean? Probably not. But we do. So, I mean, that's some of the fundamental questions we're looking at. So it's how do you weave sustainability into the way you operate today? But I do firmly believe you've got to push this up, right up the supply chain. BSR has been great partnering up with us and our competitors partnering up with us on these things. Working with mills who get the denim, because they use a huge amount of energy, a huge amount of water. How can we work with trucking companies and how we deliver our product? Have I gone quiet? So that is our next big push. We have what's called a go-to-market process, a fully integrated supply chain, pushing up and pushing down. And that, I think, will be the next evolution for us over the next few years.
Let me ask one more question, then I'm going to open it up to all of you, and we'll have people, if those of you who have the microphones can maybe stand up and make yourselves seen. That would be great. And then just put your arms up when you're ready to ask a question. It's interesting, some of the things you just mentioned about packaging, about waste, about use of a product, those are things that I like to say are hiding in plain sight. Those are things that are just a core part of the business process that can be taken right out. Do you create incentives for innovation inside the company? So if someone comes up with a good idea like that, they might get rewarded, and you might have 100 ideas, whereas you might otherwise only get a couple?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. We have this philosophy through the company called adopt, adapt, invent. And it's all about, if you can adopt things, they cost you very little. If you can adapt things, you take an idea and you fine-tune it. I don't like to invent anything because it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of money. Although having said that, there are times you do have to invent things. So on our internet site, which we call Threads, we have this process that everybody can send ideas in. And every idea comes to me, straight to me. I review every single idea. And we'll get back to you within 24 hours of reacting to your idea. Now, an idea is not enough if you don't own it. I get plenty of free advice. I want free advice with ownership. And it is extraordinary how empowered people can be. Number one, if they listen to. And number two, if they've said, okay, run with it. But you've got to get that mindset in place. And the way we talk about it is adopt, adapt, invent. And we put criteria around that. That we believe that 70% of the things we do should be adopted, 20% should be adapted, and really only 10% invented. And we measure the progress we make along that line. It's tough. You've got to break down the not invented here syndrome. But once you figure every challenge and opportunity you have, someone else has done somewhere around the world, there's an answer. A quick story I'll tell you about that. We took a group of people, I think it was to the Hyatt Hotel in Beijing, and we wanted to understand how they operated. So why would we go to a hotel when we're in the apparel industry? Well, we're also retailers. And it came very obvious, you know, the only thing that hotels they're good at, their point of difference is service. So we went to a hotel industry to figure out how to be good at service so we could adopt their ideas and put into our own stores. That to me is creative thinking that encourages innovation. And it came from one of our employees. Why aren't we looking at different industries? They gave that suggestion. Off we went. So I think great ideas can come from anywhere. I think you just have to have a commitment to listen to where they come from and the courage to support people that come up with them. Now, we've also had some crazy ones, so you've got to be able to say no as well. But, hey, if you're comfortable with the ambiguity and you want to go with some of this stuff, it can be very empowering, very successful, and save you a lot of money.